Hatchlings, it's Dragonfeather and welcome back to the channel, and on today's episode I have a very requested video that I couldn't even tell you how many people have asked me to make this video, but I'm here for it. And today I bring you guys a video on fairies and witchcraft, or Faery Craft for short. This is just going to be a very basic introductory video. It's not going to be too lengthy, but it is going to just be the basics if you want to work with fairies. I am really excited because today's video is brought to you by a creator on Etsy named LetheShoresCreations, and they make many things, but one of the things they make is mummified fairies out of like natural materials, and I am just beyond excited to share this with you guys because they sent me one of their little packages here. And before we jump into the video, I just want to share with you guys this mummified fairy that they sent me. I am so excited and so grateful, so thank you so much. And if you guys want to go ahead and check it out, please click the link down below and you can go browse their shop and get a mummified fairy for yourself. Hey, it's future Dragonfeather here, and I forgot to tell you in the excitement of this video that there is one day left. Today is the last day to enter in the Great Yulemas Giveaway. If you haven't seen the video already, it will be linked down below for you. There's amazing prizes you can win. It's the biggest giveaway I've ever done on the channel. And if you want to win exclusive candles from Exquisite Group, don't forget to click the link down below to apply to their special place for you to enter in to win their incredible candle collection. And I just wanted to pop in and let you know because I'm editing the video right now and totally forgot about it with the excitement of all the fairiness and awesomeness and all of the things. So yes, just want to let you know that don't miss your opportunity to do the thing. And yes, I'm very excited. Hope you guys enjoy the giveaway, and link will be down below if you bye. Enjoy the video. Okay, bye. These fairies are created with wire, hot glue, liquid latex, acrylic paint, twine, leaves, recycled paper, wax, and clay. So literally, it's not a fairy, but it looks like one. This amazing creation comes with a letter that is wax sealed here. As you can tell, it is dope and very well done. And oh my goodness, this is so enchanting. And it says includes one specimen. I really hope you like it, and thank you so much for doing this, Erin, and thank you so much for sending this to me. You really didn't have to, and I'm just so grateful that you are interested enough in sharing your wonderful art with me. So let me break on into this really quick to show all you hatchlings out there the amazing mummified fairy I got for you that has brought you today's video. Oh wow, it's wax sealed on the bottom too. This is like really well done, like holy shit. So here is the box, and the box is handmade too if I'm not mistaken, and it just slides right off like this. So let us see. Inside has some twine, and I got some open flames on here so I don't want to start a fire. Oh my gosh. Do you, oh holy shit. Oh my goodness, you guys, look at this. That is really creepy. Like, it's so well done. I'm like spooked a little bit. And oh, here we go. It says Feta Gisalig Fraxinus. I'm pretty sure that is not in a language, that is English. But this is what she looks like, and I'll have some close-ups for you guys too. But yeah, wow, these are enchanting. These are really well done, like yes please, like all the time. So thank you so much to LetheShoresCreations for bringing us today's episode of fairies and witchcraft and sending us this incredible little mummified specimen that is entirely handmade, but my goodness, looks so convincing. So if you guys want to get one of your own, their shop is linked down below, and let's just jump into the video. So fairies and witchcraft, what is it all about? First, let's talk about what fairies even are, or the fae. The broad umbrella term is the fae, spelled F-A-E, and this includes many different creatures that aren't necessarily fairies, if you will. This would be creatures like, obviously, fairies, gnomes, salamanders, nymphs, and dryads, and sylphs, or sliffs, however you want to pronounce them, as well as elves, and even creatures like the unicorn is considered a fairy, or part of the fae. These creatures are all under the umbrella term of the fae, but today we're going to be specifically focusing on the fairies, which are the creatures with wings and magical sparkles and, you know, we're probably most familiar with fairies with Tinkerbell, am I right? But this is not exactly accurate. This is the kind of fairies that are portrayed in Hollywood, but alas, is kind of a comical version of fairies. It's not really the original beings that were worshipped and still are worshipped today. Fairies have been made famous mostly from Celtic folklore, especially stemming from Europe. So that's where most of the like traditional myths that we know of today come from. And while my history knowledge on fairies isn't the best, I definitely want to get better, well researched about it, because it is something that I'm not too familiar with like I am with dragons. But for definite sure, I can assure you that the fairies come from the Celts, man. Most of those myths come from there. Fairies are considered nature spirits, or spirits of nature, and while this isn't exactly the case, they aren't nature spirits at their core. I would say they are more like the personification of the spirit of nature, if that makes sense. So they are the spirits that tend to the natural environment. They protect the natural environment. They are guardians of the natural environment, much like the elves, which are part of the Fae. So all of that really comes together, and all of that's kind of their own thing. And fairies are really special in particular, and much different from other types of mythical creatures, because they have their own hierarchy, their own society, their own beliefs, their own way of doing things, their weddings, their religions. They have their own things, their own birth ceremonies and death rituals. They have that all. They're essentially their own race of beings. Of course they are. You know, why wouldn't they be? One thing that I really want us to focus on when we're going to be working with that is the etiquette of working with fairies. So when you're going to start working with them, you really need to keep in mind of the etiquette, how to present yourself, how to treat them, how to interact with them, because fairies are notorious for being mischievous and are also notorious for being kind of on the sassy side. So they're very meticulous, and they have a way that they want to be treated. And so when you work with them, you want to keep that in mind, and you want to be respectful. You want to put your best foot forward, and you really want to honor them as best as you can. It's not a little tiny little dancing twinkling thing that, you know, oh my god, pixie dust. It's not like that. While some of them may be that way, it's important to not look down upon them rather than look at them as equals, if not above you, because some of these beings have actually been worshipped as ancient gods. And in some mythology and folklore, for example, Morgan Le Fay, she's a descendant from the war goddess, the Morgan, and she's also tied in with the Fae. So there's a lot of fairy mythology behind a lot of the gods and goddesses that we worship today, and that's really particularly interesting to me because these fairy kings and queens were often seen and revered as gods and goddesses in the ancient world, and still so today. And fairy festivals are still very prominent in our culture today. Fairies are a very big part of our culture as humans and have been a part of our history, especially among cultures all around the world. They all have their own kinds of myths that are like fairies. However, not all of them are the same. Most of them are similar, but most of the ones that we know today come from the Celtic mythology and stemming from Europe. Let's talk a little bit about fairy etiquette. Step number 1, don't use iron. They don't like it. It's kind of a bad juju, and for example, it would kind of be like they're allergic to it. It's something that they do not want in their presence. Just don't use iron when working with fairies. Cool? Got it. One of the main reasons why fairies may harbor a grudge towards humans is the fact that we destroy nature like a motherfucker. When you're going to work with fairies, you gotta be so careful how you interact with the environment, because that is the biggest thing for them. They don't want the environment to die. They are guardians of the earth. So if you're going to work with them, become a guardian of the earth. Plant things, ask for, you know, offerings, and leave offerings when you take things, and all of these things when you're interacting with the environment. Always, always, always be thankful. But don't say thank you. Like, you don't want to just be like, oh, thank you, fairies. They don't appreciate that. So something that you can do is leave them offerings, or leave them a gift or an act of service to show your gratitude. They want you to show your gratitude. They don't want you to just say thank you and then take what you want. They want you to show your gratitude, either by ritual, by offering, yada yada yada. Plant a tree, do something like that. That is how to show you are thankful for them working with you. Lying is not acceptable. If you are going to work with fairies, you cannot lie. If you lie, that's it. They don't give a shit about you. It's so unbelievably distasteful. It's honestly one of the most awful things you can do when you're working with a fairy, especially lying to yourself. So please, please, please keep that in check and do not lie. Offerings are key when working with fairies. You can offer them many different kinds of things. Some things that are quite typical are cakes, sweet milks, honey, anything that's kind of sweet. You can give them fresh berries, anything like that. I personally love to give them baked goods, especially pastries, because that's just kind of like what I feel they enjoy the most. And when you give them offerings, they're taking the energy from the food. They don't physically consume it, just to kind of like clarify, but it's the same thing with any other spirit that you work with. Okay, for the record, you don't want to eat the fairy food. Don't ever eat the fairy food. Even if you're offered fairy food, you probably don't want to eat it, because most of the myths say those who eat the fairy food do not leave the fairy realm and disappear. So if you want to disappear, cool, eat the fairy food. If not, don't eat the fairy food. Cool, cool, God, glad we got that. Fairies are often seen with many different kinds of natural creatures like horses and dogs and cats and birds and butterflies and beetles, and even mythical creatures like dragons and unicorns and all of these magical creatures. Oh, especially cows and pigs too. So these are creatures that interact with the fairies, and sometimes fairies will even take the shape of these. When I work with fairies, I have noticed that they mostly come in forms of like moths or winged insects, because whenever I'm around them, especially praying mantises really give me fairy vibes, and a lot of them will take that shape or take that form to go unnoticed, if you will. So how does one really work with fairies in witchcraft? Asking a fairy to bring their magic to your craft is something that can be difficult at first, and something that is really rewarding when done right. I personally haven't really formally worked with fairies for witchcraft, but when I've worked with them in magic, it's kind of just happened serendipitously. They come when they want, they go when they please, and I always make sure they know that they're welcome within my space. And in the new place that I'm living, this whole place is surrounded by fairies. I've never been in a place that has more fairy energy, like, lived in, and I'm just like beyond blown away. Like, I see fairies just like dancing around. And by the way, when I say I see fairies, I see with my third eye. I don't see with my physical eyes, I more so see their energy dancing along. It's good to work with the fairies in your magic and to invite them into your space and leave them offerings and ask them to, you know, touch your craft with their magic. And when I work with fairies, they mostly just dance through smoke, or dance through flames, or dance through the leaves or the water, and it's not so much like they show themselves to me, it's more so they come for a second and bless whatever I'm doing with their magic. And it's honestly really enchanting, and after a fairy like leaves their touch on your craft, you most definitely can feel it. You know it's there, it's like undeniable. The greatest thing I can, you know, convey to you when you want to work with fairies as a very basic fundamental is to give them offerings and to keep them in your thoughts and to tend to the land and to be respectful of the earth and to be respectful of animals. Probably should be vegan if you're going to work with fairies, and that might be controversial to some of you guys, but just like don't eat cows, or like don't eat animals that they love, you know? They don't want the earth to die, and the animals are a part of the earth. Please be careful, please remember that, and maybe try a 7-day vegan challenge when working with the Fae. You know, you can do whatever you want. Am I saying that they won't work with you if you're not vegan? Of course not. You know, they like milk. That comes from cows, but you can also give them things like soy milk and stuff like that. But the bottom line is to really open your space to them and communicate with them even if you don't think they're listening, and just make sure that you give them offerings as much as you can and invite them into your home. And that's the basic thing that you can start with, and ask them, you know, light candles for them, call upon them in your rituals, and burn things in their honor, and, you know, all of these wonderful things, and ask them to give, you know, their magic to your craft, and in return leave them with new plants and new trees and sweet things to eat and wonderful happy music and dance and song, and all of those things are great for working with the Fae. So that is all I have for you guys today with the Fae. It's a really basic introduction of how to work with fairies in your witchcraft, and it's Just that simple. So if you guys want to learn more about witchcraft, I definitely recommend Faery Craft by Emily Carding. It's a fantastic book for beginners, and I will leave a link down below. For that, please don't forget to check out LetheShoresCreations to get your very own mummified fairy. And thank you so much, Erin, for sending this to me. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below what you want to see next on fairies and witchcraft. And don't forget to enter in the giveaway. All the information is down below. But until next time, stay and pretty. Little hatchlings, blessed be, and bye.
You say you wanna cry, but you never